One day long ago, Mama picked me up from school. She said, son, won't you tell me what's bothering you? I said, no, Mama, no. Won't you leave me be? She said, son, you know better than to lie to me. Did they hurt you, boy? No, 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 no. Did they curse you, boy? No, 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 no. Did they mock you, boy? No, 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 no. What's their problem then? Well, Mom, it's gotta be mine.
Wanted to be any superhero in the world, or if you had superpowers, what superpowers would you have and why?
Probably no thanks, guy. My superpower would be that I live a lot longer than most of the other superheroes.
You know, a lot of people in life kind of stay out of trouble.
No.
People try to save people all the time.
Yep.
But is it funny how in reality they need to save themselves? Whenever you were like 14, 12, whatever, did you know what you wanted to do in life?
No.
Never wanted to be a doctor, a lawyer?
No, not really. All of that sounded really complicated.
Sounds like you take a really relaxed approach to life. Is that weird to people at school?
Just a lot of people in general, even outside of school, they find it strange. They're like, oh, well, you're never going to get anywhere with that attitude. You have to know what you want. And then 90% of the time, if you ask them, well, what did you want to do when you were my age? You're not going to have an answer. They're going to say, oh, well, it took me a little bit to develop what I wanted to do. Oh, well, then why are you yelling at me about it?
So do you think that schools should teach more things that kind of show you your options rather than tell you what you're limited to?
I definitely feel like they should. The best part about school that I've always felt is the people. But if someone had ever said, hey, I think this is a good idea, I would have taken it like, oh, they might know what they're doing. I'm going to listen to them. School is probably one of the easiest things to pass. You just have to show up, really. But a lot of people want to make it so much more than that. And the same thing is in life. A lot of people have jobs that they don't like because they have to. They don't have to. They can get a job that they like. It's really easy. You just have to find out what you're good at. But school doesn't teach that. So you get out of school not knowing what you're good at, not knowing what you like, with the idea that you have to get a job because you have to. I have a lot of people at my school that have very privileged lives. They have nice cars that were given to them. They don't have to work, really. And if they do, it's because they want to. And they have parents who care for them, who give them food. All I hear about is them complaining about their parents, how their parents don't do this and don't do that. Never once have I ever complained about my parents not doing anything. They miss out on the point of what their parents are doing. They're giving them a privileged life and they are missing the point because it's never being explained to them. They look at everyone else around that doesn't have that kind of life and they're like, oh, that sucks, but my life is worse, because that's how they view it. If they don't get that toy, man, forget it. Their parents are the worst. Or if they don't get to eat out all the time, or if they don't get to go to that fancy restaurant all the time, oh, forget it. Their parents are awful people. I lived 2 years off of eating a whole lot of top ramen, because that's what we could afford. And I didn't once complain about that.
I mean, there's a point in my life when I thought about taking my own life, because it was like life sucked. I mean, even coming from a background to where you're not given everything you had, have you ever had those weird thoughts of taking something so precious? Have those weird feelings ever come into your mind?
They have. When I was little, I got separated from my father. I never got to know him. I grew up with my stepdad. When I was in middle school, my real dad came back. And he was like, hey, let's go, let's meet up. I want to see you. I want to know where you're at. And it was the happiest moment in my life. Yeah, everyone wants that dad that they can go to the park and play catch with. It's all I ever wanted for the longest time. He came back. We hung out for a good while. We had a great time. And that was the high point. It was the best I've ever been. And then he said, we can be a family again. You and me, and we're going to go to ball games and do all this, and do all that. And then he died in the hospital. I came home from school into my room, and I was really excited. I was like, hey, Dad's going to take me to go see the ball game, and we're going to hang out. And he said we're going to be a family again. And my mom was sitting on my bed crying. It felt like everything I tried to ignore what was happening. Well, that's awesome. I'm done being here now. And I also feel like for people who know that feeling, who have been there, talking about what they went through and what other people went through, makes them feel better because they're not alone in the world.
What would you say to that kid that's telling people his parents are just horrible? And
what is so bad about them? I asked them, well, do they feed you at night? Do they let you live in their house without giving them money? Have they given you a car? Do they drive you around? There's nothing to complain about. Your parents are doing their job. It's you who's failing to appreciate what they're doing. People are people. You cannot gauge a human being by its worth, by how much a person is worth, by how much money they have, where they live, their standard of living. You can't gauge a person by that, because a person is so much more than that. They're a human being. They live, they have feelings, they have a life. No one sees that. They see money. They gauge them, they put a price on them. And that's awful. I want to make a change into that. I want people to be people again, not just a price tag.
Terribly ill once told me you must stop this mess. And son, I said, didn't you hear Sammy, baby? Change is gonna come. Now I will be the message my people need, you'll see. And I will give my broken brother sanctuary, but they will hurt you, boy. I know, they'll condemn you, boy. I know, they may kill you, boy. I know, but I gotta beat it though. Whoa, Lord, I gotta beat 'em high.